The absolute best traders in the world make money by predicting how the future will play out. They don't necessarily wait for things to happen before they trade. They trade when it's obvious what will happen next. And yesterday, we have had one of the biggest and most historic moments probably in the history of American politics, but certainly in the history of this election cycle. And that is, of course, the assassination attempt here on former President Trump. Now, without a doubt, this is one of the craziest images to ever emerge in the history of modern American politics, and certainly one of the most powerful images that any politician will ever have under their belt. Without a doubt, many believe that this is going to skyrocket Trump's popularity and, all things considered, more or less seal the deal for him for this election. Now, we can try to pretend like politics are not a deeply intertwined part of cryptocurrency, but they are, especially this cycle, where one side of the aisle is openly embracing this industry and the other side is trying to literally kill it. You know, yesterday felt like a split in time for various reasons. Not only because, of course, this was a shocking and horrifying event. Even though people like Tucker Carlson had predicted that this might happen, it was still utterly horrifying to see the events of yesterday play out. I can tell you that on my personal feed, among the people I know, there's been a lot more vocal support of Trump than I have seen over the past few months and years. And that's because something changed here. With the attempt on his life, the taboo around supporting this man no longer seems to be there. You're seeing people apparently casually walking around San Francisco, one of the biggest liberal hubs of culture in the world, with Trump hats on, and something has changed, according to Abe here. But it's very palpable throughout the entire culture right now that something has changed, and the taboo around supporting Donald Trump is no longer quite so overwhelming. Now, of course, as a cryptocurrency holder, as someone who's been rooting for this industry, we've seen all kinds of unfair actions against the crypto industry, unfair legislation, unfair government actions, what feels like you're climbing up the hill like Sisyphus rolling the boulder up the hill. And I think there's a lot of similarities between that and what's going on right now with the Trump campaign, with the lawsuits, the gag orders, and now, of course, with this attempt on his life. It does feel in some ways like Trump's campaign embodies some of the struggles that have been going on with the crypto industry at large. And it surprises me not that much that people in crypto are very much so supportive of Trump's campaign and the eventual legalization and even prioritization of crypto. Now, what's crazy here is you see it immediately in the charts. As soon as he stood up and waving his hand there, shaking his fist after this attempt, the charts exploded up, breaking out of this downtrend that we had been in. Remember, every smart bear on the timeline has told you how crypto has to go down. The charts are pointing to 47,000. And I told you that even though it looked obvious, I was not selling, because you just never know with crypto when one little catalyst can send the market back up. And in my opinion, getting back over this 60K range, especially if we're able to close this particular daily candle, which I think closes here in about 30 minutes, above 60K, that is a powerful, powerful message that this particular dip might very well be over. Again, I'm not going to speak in certainties, because the reality is that the price can do whatever it wants. It didn't have to go down after it broke 60, clearly not, and it doesn't have to keep going up now. But I can tell you that I just converted a ton of stable coins, which I recently got for a payment for NordVPN. Shout out NordVPN for sponsoring this channel. It all went right into the markets. Shout out to you guys. I'm going to keep doubling down in these dark and uncertain times, because I believe that the resolution to the upside is going to be simply historic. And that's why we talk so much about politics, about legislation, about macro, about all the factors that help you build a bulletproof thesis around cryptocurrency and the eventual rise of certain sectors within crypto, because that's the only way sometimes that you can hold through these deeply uncertain and unsettling, downright unnerving times in crypto. That's why I don't mind having the vast majority of my net worth fluctuate, literally flap around like a flag in the wind. Some days it is utterly horrifying. The fact is, the reasons why I've bought these coins are still there, and the thesis around crypto, and of course specifically crypto gaming, is extremely strong. So let's talk about right now why this is one of the biggest inflection moments, why seeing the betting markets now have a 70% chance of a Donald Trump victory being so significant, not just to the industry, but our beloved bags. Check it out. Now, it doesn't need to be said, but again, this is a parody of if CNN had been around in ancient Rome, they would of course said that Caesar had gotten injured in a group hug. And as Crown says here, if BTC explodes from here, it will be known as the Trump pump. I don't make the rules. I mean, of course it would. The man is a living, breathing green candle for crypto. It's hard not to see this as a direct link to his rhetoric, his influence, creating an expectation in the markets. Obviously, you have to be careful when markets expect one thing too much. It can lead to all kinds of volatility, but it's hard to deny that Trump is blatantly bullish for crypto. That's just the reality. And so why is right now now such a crazy time for the markets to be flipping? Well, of course, we're about to see the news that ETH is about to have its own ETF on the stock market. That's right, an altcoin, a literal altcoin, one of the best and highest performing altcoins of all time, the biggest performing altcoin of all time, is about to be listed on the stock market. Baby boomers, your parents, your grandparents, I don't know how old you are, they're all about to be able to buy ETH with one click from their brokerage. Can you imagine what happens when this cycle gets started and ETH pulls a 4x, a 5x, and the baby boomer generation gets to taste those sweet, sweet gains of altcoin glory? No one is ready for this situation. And the fact is that ETH has been fudded so hard, it's at a spiritual bottom. All signs would point to this being a powder keg of bullishness for Ethereum and the market as a whole. As Matt Huang says here, a lot of crypto nihilism on the timeline, meaning people are just checked out. They're down and depressed that only memes are pumping. Lest we forget that the simple idea of censorship-resistant money is one of the most important ideas for the future of humanity, and at a minimum, that idea is working and scaling beautifully. It's really easy to miss the forest through the trees here. Bitcoin is winning. It's on the stock market. It is here pumping like crazy whenever you get any kind of risk on climate. Now we're about to have ETH on the stock market, which very well might be the leading risk asset of all risk assets. And this is as we're about to begin what could be the biggest rate cut cycle that we ever see in our lifetimes. This is the biggest backdrop, the most important backdrop for crypto that we probably will ever see in my lifetime. Now, that doesn't mean that crypto won't have amazing years in the future. Of course it will, but I think the inflection points, the difference between this year and 4 years from now might be one of the biggest changes we ever see in this industry. And if you doubt that ETH is going to be central to the future of this industry, just look no further than the biggest banks, the biggest financial institutions in the world actually launching tokenized products this year, targeting US and European markets. We have Larry Fink, the head of BlackRock, actually building its own stock exchange, the Texas Stock Exchange, on top of Ethereum, trying to tokenize everything. This is unironically the future of finance, built right here on Ethereum. People complain that nothing besides memes are truly pumping, and they haven't even seen the beginnings of what Larry Fink is going to do by bringing in the baby boomer generation into the ETFs, into the structured products, into their crypto funds. That's right, Larry Fink is going to be buying core crypto infrastructure, the nitty gritty infra that powers the future of our civilization. They are not going to be buying meme coins. And there is in fact trillions of dollars that will flow in at the utter top of this industry. So I think some of the negativity is wildly overstated, wildly overblown, because this is, in my opinion, one of the biggest setups that we've ever seen. And of course, we've seen some amazing cryptocurrencies trending, some of my favorite in the whole industry. And believe me when I tell you that crypto gaming and its time is coming. You don't have to believe me today, but when it does happen, just remember I tried to tell you. And it is my mission to help push that movement as far forward as I can, because I believe that one crypto gaming app with millions of users will change the way people see this industry. It absolutely will overnight. And it's happening. Please, if you're not already following Off the Grid, this game is crypto gaming's first big crack at it. This is a true AAA. I've been talking to pillars of the Web2 gaming ecosystem, creators of some of your favorite games throughout history, and they are obsessed with Off the Grid. They think it is one of the biggest achievements that we've seen in the entire gaming space, but certainly in the crypto gaming space. This could be the gateway to tens of millions, maybe hundreds of millions of active users on an EVM chain. It is so bullish for the future of our industry. We should all be rooting for this one. Full disclosure, I'm an investor, I'm an advisor, and they are partnered with Superverse. So as we transition from a White House here that has been actively demonizing and unlawfully targeting cryptocurrency, as you see here, the SEC dropped an investigation into Paxos that had $20 billion plus in the Binance USD stablecoin. They investigated Binance and then they literally crippled this project. Look at this. The SEC destroyed a business that had over $20 billion in total value, and it was making over $1 billion a year, and they forced the issuer to shut it down, only to then drop the case after this entire project. Look at this. After this project had died, this is when they dropped the case. There is absolutely no defending this behavior. It is clearly outside the boundaries of what should be allowed. And so we're literally transitioning from the worst possible setup for cryptocurrency, restrictive economic policy, an utter onslaught of lawfare from the US government, into a new era where we have the leading presidential candidate actually speaking at a Bitcoin conference later this month, talking about the importance of Bitcoin mining for the electrical grid, and even considering putting Bitcoin on the US national balance sheet. That is something that will go down in history as some of the biggest inflection points, not only in crypto, but in all financial assets. So as we analyze yesterday, which was without a doubt one of the biggest pivots in any modern political election, certainly a solidification of Trump's popularity. And many people who were on the sidelines, who were maybe closeted Trump supporters, a little too quiet, a little too embarrassed to say it, are now coming out in droves. And the popularity of this movement really does seem to be wild and quite hard to stop. And obviously you can hear it in my voice. I was pretty affected yesterday because 1 inch was really the difference between darkness and light here. It could have gotten extremely, extremely dark in this country if that had not been a miss. That would have been a very, very tragic moment. Who knows what would have happened, but it would have been very, very sad time here in America. Instead, I believe that a lot of people see that as an incredible act of strength. And of course, I'm very biased here. I believe that what is good for Trump is pretty much good for crypto. That's reflected here in the charts. And I also believe that this is a pivot point that is really important, up there with the March 2023 bank bailouts. In really putting an end to the bear market, you have this particular shift in the election as quite an obvious pivot that effectively the best candidate for the crypto markets is about to get into power. If he's of course able to stay safe, which we hope and pray that he is. As always, my goal here is to give you guys the insights that I think are the most powerful. I've put all the remaining fiat that I have set aside for investing into the markets here. It was quite a hefty sum, and I'm very excited to see what happens next. I'm not going to name any specific tickers here. You guys have seen what coins have performed best when ETH pumps. Obviously, I've been talking about MOG and the Frog, Pepe. Those are the sort of two leading meme coins on ETH, which I have a huge amount of exposure to, and I'm still holding, have only added to those positions. I believe those, along with other coins, especially gaming narrative and DeFi, should be set up for amazing outcomes with the success of ETH. As always, if you guys enjoyed this, make sure to smash the like, subscribe, and follow for more videos. If you don't have a NordVPN subscription, please grab a NordVPN subscription with my link below. It is a software that I use each and every single day. I'm using it right now. It is utterly required if you're a crypto user. It can prevent hacks, other kinds of data leakage. It's literally just a few dollars per month and you get a money back guarantee if you don't like the service. It's literally risk-free. The biggest risk is not trying it. So please grab NordVPN by clicking the link in the description. And a big thank you to them for sponsoring this episode. As always, I hope this has helped you. I want you to understand the importance of the pivot that happened yesterday, the importance of what we can see unfolding, not just over the next few months, but over the next few years as a result of yesterday. I sincerely hope that wherever you are safe, your family is safe, and that you benefit tremendously from the upcoming bull market. I'll see you very soon in the next episode.